Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome. Thank you all for being here today. This is a general meeting of the Waipuna Halswell-Hornby-Riccarton Community Board. The meeting is live streamed and recordings will be available on the Community Board's YouTube channel. Now, voting records will be published in the minutes and on the council website. If a voting record is not shown for an item in the minutes, it means that an item was carried unanimously by those present. If you are sitting in the public gallery, thank you for attending and we welcome your interest in our discussions. Please note that the public gallery should remain quiet during the meeting. Now, toilets are located in the corridor outside the meeting room. In case of an emergency, please exit via the door at the back of the room. There are 2 staircases to exit the building. Please follow staff directions in the case of an emergency. Lastly, please put your phones on silent mode. Right. We will have our karakia.
If it's okay.
Right. So apologies and no apologies. We just have Debbie on Zoom, right? And so we'll just move on to the declarations. I have a declaration to make, and that is on item 12 for the Riccarton Bush Trust, and same with Tyla. For item number 12 for Riccarton Bush Trust as well. And confirmation of minutes. I move that the minutes of the Waipuna Halswell-Hornby-Riccarton Community Board meeting held on Thursday, 12th of May, 2026 be confirmed. Move, seconded by Mark. Thank you. Right. And all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Against? Carried. And we move on to the public forum. We now have Mark Peterson, manager, who will give us an update on the activities of the Riccarton market. Is he here? No, not yet. Okay. Move on to Sushruti and Suho. Welcome, please come forward.
Sushruti,
Still, you wait for Sushruti.
Okay.
So Adele is here, and Helen Porata will update us or talk to us about the proposed new Halswell Breeze.
Definitely new. Hi, I'm Adele Gerrards, speaking on behalf of Te Matai Tihi School, instead of the Halswell Residents Association today, for those of you who are new from that. And with me is Helen Porata, who's one of our deputy principals. So there's 2 things we'd like to bring to your attention for tonight's discussion. I'm sure there'll be others in the coming months, but these are 2 we'd like to bring to your attention. Firstly, the developing civil works and pedestrian access to the school. Currently, we're working with the Ministry of Education to ensure that the school site and the pickup drop-off zone ensure safety for our students walking, biking and scootering to school. However, with the housing development across the road, we are unsure as to whether the footpath across the road will be completed by the school opening in 2027. At a recent board meeting, we've discussed this as a risk and maybe we could get your encouragement to the developer to get the other side of the road done for when we are opening or within close proximity of that. And also we're going to have a rear gate, pedestrian access gate through the back of the property, which backs onto a little walkway, which is a city council walkway. And we are hoping that in the future there could be a footbridge there, pedestrian footbridge over the small stream slash culvert slash drain, to improve this way through to the domain and provide a very safe pedestrian access for children coming from the rear of the property. Obviously, these things would allow school and local families seamless access to the domain green space for sports, physical education, weekend recreation, and provide an alternative vehicle-free walking route for children living on the domain side of the school. Really, that was all we wanted to say.
Right. Oh, thank you.
Do you have any questions for us?
Oh, I've got Andre, Cody, and then Helen. Andre, go ahead, please.
Thank you. What's the most recent discussions the ministry's had with the developer on their timeline?
Our principal's been speaking with the Ministry of Education, and the Ministry of Education's been speaking with the developer. So we're, several weeks behind in whatever conversation is happening.
That sounds very problematic.
Yes, it is. Hence why we'd like,
friendly encouragement.
Yes.
But as the developer that you need to be speaking with, not us.
Yes.
So can the ministry push? No, can the ministry allow you to communicate with them directly? Well, I mean, you could do that yourself.
We are trying, Janine.
Yeah, who's blocking you? I guess is what I'm trying to get my head around. You shouldn't have to come to us. The developer there.
We are trying to get that conversation going with the developer. So it's in the works in progress.
Yeah.
It's not a block, it's just getting to the right person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you've asked the ministry to put you in touch with the developer directly, and the ministry hasn't done that.
Not 100% sure. I don't think we've been put in direct contact. No.
Okay.
But we do need to work that communication around.
Agree. Okay. All right. I'm sure. Cool.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Andre. Cody.
Yeah, thank you for coming in to bring this to our attention. So is this about the Mills Road school?
Yes.
Yeah. So I was also concerned to hear about this recently. It was only after I asked the staff for the consent and saw the design that it was actually outlined to us that the footpath likely would not be constructed. I spoke with the developer around 2 or 3 weeks ago, and they indicated that it was unlikely that would happen. And the suggestion from that was that they'll start the construction from the top towards the bottom, and something to the effect of it would be quite expensive for them to build that footpath potentially. I guess that presents some risk to the school in terms of other developments that we've seen where they've come through and maybe a particular stage hasn't progressed, which hasn't triggered that requirement to build the footpath. What would be the impact for the school if that would happen?
Well, it could be quite a severe impact if the footpath isn't there. Where our school is being designed in 3 phases. So when we open, our initial roll will be about 270 children. The second phase is about double that, around 580, I think, roughly. And then final phase is up to 900 students. Now that is what it's being designed for. How quickly that happens will depend on how quickly families enroll into the school.
Yep.
But if you take Night Stream as an example, they started off about 6 years ago, 5-6 years ago, and they're well over 500 children at that school now.
Yep.
So we could see ourselves being well over 500 children within 5 years quite comfortably.
Okay.
And so that's a lot of children crossing the road.
Yeah.
Potentially. Yeah.
So the board's just confirmed its priorities for the next 3 years, and the footpath here wasn't one of them. Do you think that we should maybe have a look at adjusting our priorities for footpath in Hawthorne because of it?
Sorry, it's built by a developer.
Yeah.
So our priority wouldn't be.
Sorry, I was speaking. Actually, I'm asking a question.
But you asked something we can't do.
Let him ask a question.
Yeah, we can build with footpaths, as we've done in other places. Yeah. Yeah. Thanks.
Yeah, from our perspective,
As health and safety.
it's health and safety.
Our kids.
It's health and safety of our kids.
Yep.
Getting to school safely.
Getting to school safely.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But totally realize that footpaths generally are the developers' whim, unfortunately.
Yep.
So yeah, for us, footpath very important because of the health and safety for our children.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking, did you have any ideas, this is my last question, on what we might do, for example, the top side of Hills Road? For example, like maybe putting in a pedestrian refuge or something. Have you thought about anything like that?
We're not traffic engineers.
No,
We go with what we're being provided by the
Yeah.
Ministry of Education and from the developers from that side.
Right. Thank you. I think we've run out of time already. So we'll move on. Thank you very much.
If
Adele.
have further questions,
Yeah.
just email.
I wonder if I could just check, just a quick.
Just,
You were
um,
talking about.
Sorry, Helen. Sorry, Helen, we are moving on. Thank you, Adele and
That's right, okay.
we are now, we've got the Durga Utsav Festival. We've got Sushruti and Sobo to come speak on behalf of the Bangaliana Multicultural Christchurch. Welcome. You have 5 minutes, including questions and answers. Thank you.
If we could also have the slides, there is a slide.
Yep.
Thank you so much for this opportunity. Good evening, Chair, community board members, councillors, and distinguished guests. My name is Sushruti Adhikari, and this is Shubhajit Sarkar, and we are here to represent the Bangaliana Multicultural Christchurch. So I'll just talk a little bit about the organization. So we started 6 years ago in 2019, and with a very small group of people. And after 5 years, we have grown into a very large, one of the popular multicultural organization here in Christchurch. And we usually do 2 events in Christchurch, but one of the event is the Durga Festival that we have done since 2022. And this year we are going to do on 17th of October at the Templeton Community Center. We have done it last year as well. So what this festival represents is, it brings all the people from Christchurch, from the area, from the Templeton area together, irrespective of faith, background, culture. They all come together under one roof and, celebrate this amazing festival. And this festival also represents, because this is a woman goddess, and it is the symbol of warrior, mother, and a protector, and it represents the feminine power and empowerment. And hence, in our organization, this event is performed and led by women in our organization. From the starting of it to end of it, it's all organized by women. And would you like to add something else? Yeah.
Thank you, Sushruti. Thank you everyone for giving us this opportunity. I just wanted to highlight for us we are here today to invite you all to this wonderful event. For us, the festival is quite important. It's like for some of you, Christmas. For us, Durga Festival represents that. And at this time of the year, we really miss our home. We really miss our family. Obviously, we can't travel back to our home every year. But especially for the kids that are our kids, our generation of kids who are growing up in New Zealand and they have not seen what Durga Festival is. So this festival is quite important for them. For this year specifically, we are having visitors from all across New Zealand. We have some people from Auckland, we have some people from Queenstown. Our kind of decoration starts the day before. So we start about like 6 p.m. 3 p.m. the day before. We take about 6.5 hours to decorate the hall. And we basically try to replicate whatever we have seen growing up with this festival. Actually, this is one of the biggest festivals in India. It happens across 5 days. We just do it in a smallish scale here.
We try to do everything in one day. And not only this, so we have multicultural performances from not just Indian community, but from all over wider Christchurch. So we have Sri Lankan performances, we have South African drum beats, we have all throughout. We invite everyone to join us. Yes, and we have free community lunch and evening snacks as well, and variety of activities for kids. And throughout the day, something or the other is happening, and it's about giving priority to the woman, to the goddess, and respecting and empowering women.
Yes, right.
Just again here to invite you all. If you guys are free on the 17th, please join us. About the community lunch is about from 12:30. So and then the cultural starts at 1:30. So again, just
Thank you. Thank you very much for coming and sharing it with the board. I have witnessed it in person. I have attended this festival for 3 years already in a row. So and it's very, very successful. So I would encourage almost all of you to please come. Yes. And so any question from the board? Mark, a comment?
Also reiterate what Marie said. It's a fantastic experience. I wish you every success, and hopefully a number of board members can get along and experience it, because it is phenomenal.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Right. Thank you. Right. Do we now have Mark Peterson? No, still not here. Right. We will now move on to deputations, and we've got Russell Drake, local resident, will address the board in relation to the Riccarton Craft Kilmarnock Street, Monavale Avenue traffic calming and pedestrian safety improvements report. Welcome, Russell. You have 10 minutes, including question and answers.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Firstly, thanks for the opportunity. I'll welcome feedback and questions, but if I could complete this pre-prepared dialogue, and I would welcome those questions. My wife and I are presenting this based on the receipt of an original proposal that appeared in our letterbox. It didn't go into everybody's, I add. A subsequent meeting with Anne and Andrew from council, their updated line of sight illustration as provided to us, and now the report that came out just last week, or was available to me last week, which has added a few dimensions. I wish to point out that neither the original flyer we received in our letterbox or the subsequent meeting with council reps outlined all of the proposed changes. Thus, we had no clear indication of the full impact these proposed changes would make until we gained access to this report. So due to the relatively short period of time that we've had to absorb all this, we haven't had the opportunity yet to consult other neighbours. Of course, changes to the Monavale and Darvel corners impact on us as well as other residents, and it would have been a fairer and perhaps more communicative way to present everything to us all at once. We as homeowners in Kilmarnock Street and near neighbours agree that crossing safety should be addressed. However, what we collectively do not agree upon is the proposed removal of car parks. Initially, we just thought this applied to the 3 directly outside 21, but now learned quite a number more to be removed, or at least changed. It's for these reasons, therefore, that we remain 100% opposed to the proposed changes in their current form, as outlined in this report, specifically to the section 7.2.78H and 8.2.78H. I'll give you some wraparound. Owning a property with a shared driveway access means we do not currently have the luxury of being able to park in our drive-on space like many other homeowners do. This was the situation when we purchased. To remove car parks impacts on us directly. Some general considerations. To remove those car parks will add further demand to the parking congestion already experienced in Kilmarnock. Additional demand is forthcoming with 55 units about to commence construction in the old Kilmarnock Enterprises site. Most importantly, the greatest risk we perceive to overcome, and it's in our view, is the 45-minute lead-up period before Girls' High Day starts and a similar period at the end of the school for just the 5 normal school working days and during term time only. I wish to point out that we would like to reiterate too, these are young adults, they're not children. To remove the parks is an imposition to the residents 24 hours of every day, 7 days a week. The current proposal using the drawing as presented to us illustrates the removal of car parks. The drawing is based upon the quoted NZTA guidance reference design 3.4 crossings and is subheaded with pedestrian network guidance. And I stress that this is a guidance document. The 85+ pages appear to be written in a format for guidance. Not having drafted it myself, it's quite difficult to have an intimate knowledge of its full contents or relevance in this instance. So to recall specific elements for you now and passages cannot be offered, although I do note on page 5, 3.4.1a, that a safe system and safety benefits are to separate pedestrians from motor vehicles or ensure impact speeds are at or below 30 kilometres an hour, a suggestion we've already made. The guiding document has already been contradicted when advised by Engineer Andrew that local council cannot reduce the speed on this particular stretch of Kilmarnock Street. We don't accept that a local council cannot lobby for individual common sense and practical innovations. I'm sure challenges may occur many more times than can be imagined. The summary for you is that the reason to remove the car parks appears to be that the drawing shows the need for 69 metres distance of clear vision. I'm reasonable at maths, and so I understand this to represent a period of time of just over 5 seconds interval for a vehicle travelling at the extent of the speed limit, 50 kilometres an hour, to reach a point of a pedestrian about to cross a road. Note that the road code uses a 3-second interval as a suggestion for safe travel distance in order to prevent a collision. The commencement of this line, also labelled CSD on the drawings, shows that a measure of 1.6 behind the curb itself is where the measure must start. We acknowledge that some pedestrians push strollers, prams or other walking aids in front of them, and so a buffer is necessary. The starting point appears to not consider other existing road markings. The extent of the cycle lane clearly marked in green is a further 1.87 metres out from the curb before you reach trafficable road space. This is an overall distance of 4.57 or 4.6 metres from the starting point of the line of sight. It's quite excessive in our opinion. A sightline measure from the curb itself renders an uninhibited sightline to Hagley Park without the need to remove current car parks. Further consideration is that the particular stretch of Kilmarnock has 4 bus stops, 2 on either side. I note that the first designated bus stop in Quartering a shelter outside the businesses is outside the business towers on the park. There is just only 197 metres between this bus stop and the bus stop directly outside 21 Kilmarnock Street. Why do we need 2 bus stops so close together? Solutions. It's always good to bring a solution to a problem. We would like these to be considered. Remove the second bus stop outside 21 Kilmarnock. We believe it's unnecessary. Replace the removed bus stop with clear parking space. This in itself creates approximately 2 further car parks. As part of the proposal, creating a small abutment or outward bulge with the curbing at the crossing point onto part currently unused portion of the road to soften the line of sight requirements would also work. And only if need be then remove just 1 parking space, the nearest one to the crossing. As a collective, these simple implementations represent considerable compromise by all parties and produce a satisfactory outcome for one side of the street in this project.
Thank you very much. That was very clear. We've got 3 minutes for questions and answers. I've got Helen, Joseph, and Tyler. Helen, go ahead.
Can I just check where you live on
21 Kilmarnock.
21 Kilmarnock?
Yep.
I've been down there this afternoon, and I am surprised at the number of parks going. So, do you and one option is that we turn the parks to 120 metres. Sorry, 120 minutes parking. Would that solve the issue or would it cause problems?
That's been mooted. Andrew suggested that at the meeting we had. I think a practical reality of that answer is that applies 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, unless there's some sort of restriction to the park.
No, we could make it, we can change hours around. We could make it 9 or 8 till 6 or something, Monday to Friday.
Perceivably, it's a
It's
possibility.
a possibility.
Yep.
Yeah, because I was surprised that we agreed to the cutout, if you like, for the girls' crossing. I didn't know that there were so many parks going. So it's the first we got the paper at the same time that in fact you did. Yeah, okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, Helen. Joseph.
Thank you for coming in, Russell.
Sure.
Sorry to hear about the multiple documents containing the information. It's if it's any consolation, it's happened to us too. It's on 2 different items in the agenda. I just wanted to confirm, because you've alluded to a couple of things in your written submission as well as the presentation you've just given. So you'd like us to investigate reduced speed on Kilmarnock.
I see it as being something that could happen. You know, I don't have an issue with it.
All right, and you've also alluded to, as I see, speed bumps and signage in the written submission. You'd want us to investigate those as well.
Suggested a number of different options that could be considered. Yes, I did.
Right. And in addition to that, you also mentioned something about road markings during your presentation just then.
Yes, so the line of sight measure is 1.6 metres back from the curb. So it's in the middle of somebody's grass verge at the moment, and that's where the line of sight goes. So it's 69 metres that way. Beyond that point, there's about another, there's 1.87 metres to the inside of the cycle lane. And then you've got trafficable outside of there. And of course, most of it's sweeping up to go directly up. There's a huge distance in there that could be utilised, and just a little bit of creativity of pushing out the existing curb may actually alleviate some of this issue. Like I say, we believe that safety is an issue, but we're not dealing with children, we're dealing with adults, and we should be looking at the impact on the community as a whole.
Right, that makes sense to me, I think. So would you say it's reasonable to say that you believe we could reduce the number of parks being removed if we looked into these things?
I believe so.
Okay, thank you.
Is that it? We've run out of time, but I will allow Tyler as Councillor Riccarton to ask you a question.
Yeah, Russell, how you going?
Good.
Hey, thanks so much for coming in and presenting all of that. It's the most detailed submission I've actually ever seen. No, it's great. It's amazing. It's nice to have someone come out and say exactly what it is that they want done. The question I've got is, the questions have been asked here, which I was going to ask. Are there any other safety improvements that are a stick to you while you've got the opportunity to talk about them?
Yeah, I don't know that I can present those just off the cuff now. I'd have to give that some more thought. I guess that, in summary, we acknowledge that there are school pupils that use that area. There is 2 parts of the day. The issue for us is that it would apply over the weekend. So removing car parks and all that sort of thing applies over the weekend when they are not there, term time, during the Christmas and holiday time. So I think that an option could be explored other than removing car parks. I noticed that in the section 7.2, there's another 52 metres from Darville Street along Kilmarnock towards the west that's going to be reduced in car parks, and someone else may be speaking on that. I don't know. I didn't know that was the case. So I know we're all trying to get cars off the road, but the answer is we still drive cars, and there is a need for car parking. It's desperate all over the city, and this just seems to be an easy fix, and I think some more thinking could happen.
Cool. Thanks so much. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much, Russell. And next up, we've got on the same area, Jeanette Ward, local resident also, Monavale, Kilmarnock. Welcome, Jeanette. And you've got 10 minutes, including questions and answers, please. have a seat.
My name's Jeanette Ward, and I'm just following on from somebody in the same situation as I am. And I'm going to start with community engagement. I may have missed it, but I'm unclear about when community engagement took place. I only became aware of the project through my neighbour, David Edge, at 24 Monavale Ave, who I'm going to represent as well today. Safety concerns. Although these changes are described as safety improvements, I'm concerned they would increase the risks of accidents. Narrowing the street may encourage unsafe behaviour by both drivers, cyclists, scooters, pedestrians, and kids on scooters. I have witnessed several accidents in the area over the past 5 years. In my view, I think traffic lights might be an option. They're expensive, but I think long-term safer and would be more effective way to improve safety and manage the movement of vehicles and pedestrians along Monavale Ave and Kilmarnock Street. Traffic on Monavale Ave is often, I'm just going to reiterate what you said, is heavy, especially during school drop-off and pick-up times, and again in the evening peak with cars, buses and tour coaches, sometimes queued back to the Christchurch School High School entrances. When it is already difficult to turn onto Kilmarnock Street, it is unclear how adding a speed hump at an intersection controlled by a stop sign would improve safety or traffic flow, possibly some traffic flow. With the addition of, now don't quote me on this, I'm not sure, you guys may be more aware, I think there's 55 or more housing units on the corner of Kilmarnock and Monavale Ave. I've used Monavale Ave, it's just over the railway line. Parking availability in this area is likely to be reduced even further without reducing car parks. Sorry, mine was short and hopefully.
Thank you very much, Jeanette.
Sure.
We've got questions from Cody, Helen, and then Joseph.
Yeah, thank you.
Hi.
So yeah, thank you for taking time to also speak before the meeting. I'm just wondering, can you maybe just outline for me, what do you think will be the impact from the 55 units going in from a transport perspective?
Yeah, car parking and heavier traffic flow.
Okay.
Yep. And I think it's going to reduce, I'm scared, sorry, of the risk taking that adolescent mind makes, not to mention some adults. And I think that's, yeah.
Yeah. And do you walk in the area as well?
Oh, I've just got out of a moon boot. So
Sorry, you
not
tell me that.
at the moment, but I will make an effort.
Generally.
Yeah, I do. I quite often, prior to this, would walk down to Monavale.
Okay. Yeah. So you're not going towards the shops. I guess the reason I ask is if you were to walk across,
yes,
do you feel confident to do that?
No, especially with those. Yeah.
Good. Thank you.
Not at all.
Yeah.
And I think with traffic lights, it would kill two birds with one stone. You're going to look after the pedestrian as well as the traffic.
Okay.
Pardon? Traffic lights would?
Oh, a lot of, yeah.
Oh, good.
Thank you.
Thank you, Cody. We'll have Helen, got Helen and then Joseph.
Thank you. You're from Monavale Avenue.
Yes.
So you're particularly concerned about Monavale, or would you concerned about Kilmarnock, or both?
Both. Okay. It's a nightmare.
And would you be happy if we moved a resolution to let it lie on the table until we do further work on it? Rather than pass it it seems to me we should table the option.
Okay.
You're happy with that? If it got through?
Yes.
Yes, thank you.
Workshop.
Right.
That's all, Helen, from you. Thank you. Joseph.
Thank you for coming in, Jeanette. So I just want to check the major themes that I was hearing during your presentation were, number one, that that you don't feel like there was enough engagement.
Yes, definitely.
And number two, that you would like a signalised crossing at some point in the future with traffic light.
Yes.
And number three, you're concerned that these changes won't do enough to reduce unsafe behaviour.
100%.
So I'm just checking because obviously signalised crossing might take some time. What sort of interim measures would you want to address the other concerns while, if that was investigated?
Oh, I guess I would not like it acted on.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And for reducing
Safety is important. Yep.
reducing the other unsafe behaviours that you're not sure that narrowing the road would do, what other?
I think
Context would
narrowing
you
the
have?
road would make it more of a hindrance, more, yeah.
So what alternatives do you think that we should be looking at to reduce the unsafe behaviour?
Other alternatives,
Mm.
I don't think there is one.
Right.
What do you see?
Well, the previous submitter, Russell, alluded to a number of measures that he thought we should investigate.
Yeah,
Would you agree that we should investigate some of those?
some.
Okay.
Definitely.
Thank you.
Cool.
No, thank
Oh,
you.
good.
Joseph's doing all the work for me.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Thanks, Annette.
And next we've got David Edge.
He's
on
got
the
good
same
people.
Area, Kilmarnock and Monavale. Is David around?
Oh,
Yep,
sorry, I
that was David.
represented.
Oh, along with David.
Also represented Gary Gray, he owns a unit.
Oh, all right. Okay, cool. So next we've got Genevieve Leach, Deputy Principal, who will speak on behalf of Christchurch Girls High School in relation to the Riccarton Craft, Kilmarnock Street, Darville Street. Welcome, Genevieve.
Kia ora koutou. Yeah, as you said, I'm Deputy Principal at Christchurch Girls High School, and it's really great to hear your perspective, Russell, and also Jeanette. And our perspective, I suppose, is sort of similar with some similar concerns, but really want to put the safety at the forefront of what we want to talk about. So my portfolio is around health and safety, amongst other things, but I'm here to present our strong support for the proposed pedestrian refuge on Kilmarnock Street, and to outline why we think that's important to be able to keep our students safe. So we know that every day hundreds of our students cross Kilmarnock Street, and to understand the scale of this risk, our students over the last number of years actually in geography, in Year 13 they've been studying a local issue in their local area. And you had a couple of our students present to you, I think 2 years ago, with regards to this specific issue. Their study found that they actually surveyed 99 students across every year level at our school, and that 66% of those students specifically expressed that they thought that this intersection was unsafe for them. What we see, and I know, Russell, you will have seen this, is students dashing across the road and really unsafe pedestrian behaviours. We know that adolescents are less accurate than adults at judging vehicle speed and distance. We know that cognitive ability hasn't yet been fully developed for them. And our student survey has confirmed that. So when I read the assessment that these students wrote 2 years ago, it hasn't changed from the student viewpoint now. So students are saying things like they zoom past fast, there's a constant wave of cars, and that the difficulty of tracking traffic coming from many points at once is something they struggle with. One student noted that spaces between the cars aren't consistent and it's risky to cross between. A further complication is that many of our teens are on their phones. And we know that this is typical adolescent behaviour, and we don't like it, and we are really worried about it. But we know that this reduces their situational awareness even further when they've got their head down on a phone. When you combine distraction, developing risk assessment skills, and the social momentum of walking places in groups with your young peers, the danger increases significantly. And it's not defiance, it's just a reality of them at their developmental stage. It's also important to recognise that the 50-kilometre speed limit on Kilmarnock Street is 20 k's an hour higher than what's recommended for around schools. And we know that our school's not on Kilmarnock Street, but it is a street that our students cross very, very frequently. And that's something that's definitely on our mind as well. The reason why they're crossing is because there's 8 major bus routes on Riccarton Road, and a large proportion of our students are catching the bus to come to and from school. Where they cross is when they come out of Darville Street. So our school is on Martai Street. So they come out of Darville and they cross Kilmarnock. And where that proposed pedestrian refuge is that desire line, that pedestrian desire line, and it's hitting right on that. We have had such major concerns about this that I have implemented a staff member on duty on the corner of Darville Street and Kilmarnock each day after school when the bulk of students leave. Unfortunately, supervision like this alone can't solve the problem. Students will simply, and the staff report this to me frequently, the students will simply walk further down Kilmarnock Street and then do the same thing, which is riskily cross that road. So it just shifts the risk to a different point. The students are pretty much unanimous about the solution. 97% of the students surveyed by our Year 13s doing their geography assessment believe that a crossing improvement would be beneficial to their safety. They're asking for a safe spot to stop and check surroundings so they don't have to stand in the middle of the road while cars race past. It's also important to consider the wider traffic environment at peak times, particularly in the early evening heading east. The traffic volume on Kilmarnock Street is high and vehicle speeds can creep up. A refuge island provides a natural traffic calming effect, slowing vehicles and making drivers more aware of pedestrians. And so we think that's a great idea. It not only benefits our students, but local residents and Mona Vale visitors and other community members as well. We are absolutely in agreement around the concerns about the loss of parks. Our staff would agree. We're currently undergoing a rebuild. 80% of our school is built and on-site parking is almost non-existent. The contractors are all parking in the areas. A lot of students have access to vehicles. And so we absolutely agree with the concerns around the loss of parking. But we really ask that we weigh up the safety in this decision-making around how we keep our students and our community safe. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Genevieve. I just for clarification, because my run sheet here says you're talking about Kilmarnock and Darville Street intersection, but at the beginning you said you supported the pedestrian refuge along Kilmarnock Street. Does that cover both intersections or just the one intersection?
Yeah, I suppose our focus has been on the Kilmarnock Darville because that's where the majority of our students go. We know there's smaller numbers that use that Mona Vale Ave one, and I guess the perspective is the same for both, that we support them for the safety of our students. But of course, we're concerned about the loss of car parking for the residents and our staff as well.
Right. Okay, thank you. Now I've got Joseph, Cody, and then Helen. Joseph, please.
Thank you for the presentation, Genevieve. Just wondering first, would you be able to send through to the community board the surveys that you mentioned?
Yeah, sure.
Wonderful,
Absolutely.
thank you. And so I was picking up during what you were saying that you're very strongly in support of the Darville Kilmarnock one.
Yeah.
I guess my question would be, what further improvements would you make afterwards? Because you alluded quite a lot to speed and you alluded to really large traffic numbers. So I guess the first question would be, would you also want us to investigate other improvements such as reduced speed limits?
Yeah, absolutely.
And with the large number of students crossing, do you think that there's enough space in the pedestrian refuge?
Yeah, that was something that I did have a think about, because I did wonder what the actual physical length of that would be, because obviously the width or the depth of it's not going to be that great. I have a number of images of 2:45 p.m.-ish when school finishes, groups of 10 to 12 or more students crossing at one point. So I'd hope that in the design of those refuge islands that's considered. And I know that there's been some survey by the City Council with regards to how many we're looking at. And I think that's actually in the report, isn't it, about the volume. Yeah.
All right. Thank you, Joseph. Cody.
Yeah, thank you. One thing we often hear is that we shouldn't do something because, if it's around a school and it's good for the school, it's kind of like 24/7. The students crossing outside the school hours as well. You see a lot of kids in the area.
I don't live in the area. I live in another area, but when I have been around the school at in the weekends, what we do notice and we do know is that there are a lot of people use our tennis courts for recreation.
Okay.
If you drove past on any fine Saturday or Sunday, you'll see that the tennis courts are pretty much being used for either tennis or football, almost completely 100% of that time. So I would imagine there may be some pedestrian movements to do with that. There's often events in Mona Vale. I think they have a summer theatre in January and February. So given those various events, that I guess there'd be people moving from Riccarton Road from the bus stops there through that corridor.
Okay. And so people walking to and from the school to use the bus on Riccarton Road, that's sort of the predominant way. It's not people living in the area.
I'm not sure about that, but certainly from a student perspective,
that's what I mean.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's the bus corridor on Riccarton Road that is the reason why they're crossing Kilmarnock Street, and it's to get to those buses.
Outside the 2-4.
Yeah, and one just slightly further up as well that goes into the city. Yeah.
And just looking at some of the other streets, like if we look at the part of Darville Street that's below Kilmarnock, that already has speed humps and some other treatments on there.
Correct.
From the staff that you've had sort of supervising the area, do they observe that it's better, or it doesn't really make any difference?
They've been there. I mean, I've been at Girls High for 21 years. Those speed humps have been in existence as far as I can recall for that length of time. The main issue that we have now is just the students and their awareness of how they're crossing that road across Kilmarnock. So I'm not sure I can answer your question about the Darville humps that have been in existence.
Yeah, it was more a question of, do you see the same sort of risk on that side of the intersection compared with the north side? Maybe because of the traffic.
So you're saying where the proposed one is on Kilmarnock, on the other side.
Yeah.
There's definitely risk on that side, but most students are crossing on that park side, Hagley Park side, because that's where they come down Darville from school, and they don't cross Darville, they cross Kilmarnock.
Okay.
So I think that's why the proposal is for it to be on that side.
Sure. And just lastly, so the part of the proposal sort of adjusts the cycle lane and so on that goes through there. Is there a lot of kids that are biking to school as well?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. But predominantly on the cycle lane that crosses the railway line at Martai Street.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, Cody. This is the second time you've used up the time and run out of time for Helen, but I will allow her to ask
Very quick questions. The size of Girls High School at present?
1,300.
13, it's grown.
Well, we don't have space for it to grow. So,
About 900.
no, we've been sitting since the quakes pretty consistently at around 12 to 13.
And the large building going up, is that that's the schoolrooms, is it?
Yes,
To
so
cater with the growth.
no, it's to replace the dual-story building that's going to be demolished due to
Okay.
earthquake damage.
Okay. And just to say that when we
Helen, just focus on the report, please.
Okay.
Question.
I guess when we said it would be good to have a crossing, we didn't know that the implications would be loss of parking. So we'll try and we'll debate this. But
Yeah. Okay.
we had no idea at the time. Okay, thank you.
Right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Right.
Thank you.
Right. So, to move on, we do not have any presentation of petitions, so we're moving on to staff reports. Item number 7, the agenda is the Riccarton Craft Kilmarnock Street, Darville Street traffic calming and pedestrian safety improvements. Welcome to Andrew Hensley, Ann Tomlinson, and Amy Rice. All right.
Put my hand up first.
That speak first.
Yeah.
All right, now I've got to. All right.
Cool, welcome. Right.
Thanks for having us. I'll just do a really quick background just to sort of just to remind the board where these projects come from. So these projects were projects that the board asked us to do as part of the CRAF program, with one of the board's high priorities being safety. So the 2 traffic calming projects on Mona Vale, Kilmarnock and Darville Kilmarnock, and then the pedestrian safety improvements on Kilmarnock Street. So these came about through the project selected by the board for CRAF. And then, of course, then subsequently, as talked about tonight, Christchurch Girls High School then did a deputation to the board, which sort of reinforced that what we were doing was addressing a real concern that was in the community. Yeah, so I just wanted to sort of lay on the table how the projects came about. Yeah, and I guess from there that we're just really open to questions. Yeah. Oh, did you want to say something?
Yeah, if I could just follow on from some of the points made in the deputations, and we had good meeting on site with Mr. Drake and also
Mr. Edge.
Mr. Edge. I think it's worth pointing out that whatever pedestrian facility is installed would result in a loss of parking. The extent of the loss of parking is probably the difference, and there is also a trade-off between actually shared cost as well. Probably about the only facility that wouldn't would be an overbridge. But I don't think we're, for instance,
Double Street overbridge.
I think for me, I'll just go, if I may quickly go through really quick points. What it does come down to is what is the best use of the curbside space? Is it for safety and accessibility, or is it for unrestricted parking, which may or may not even be available for residents? And we know the area is subject to quite a lot of demand for parking, both from commuters and also from probably girls' high teachers and pupils too. Typically, unrestricted parking is the least efficient use of a space if demand exceeds supply. And currently at the moment, before this project came along, I wasn't aware of and even still currently, that we're in a situation yet where demand exceeds supply. Now, that may well change with the housing developments, and as pressure goes on and more people decide to park and walk and things like that. The main way we resolve or try and address that demand and supply issue is through restricting the parking to encourage a turnover. And P120 was one thing we did suggest. In effect, that would operate 8 till 6 Monday to Sunday, but being P120 means that between 10 a.m. and 4 p.m, that's when the restriction operates. And that would target exactly the same commuters and all-day parking, which currently restricts people being able to park outside their own house for extended periods, visitors, tradespeople visiting and things like that. So that would be certainly something we would recommend, that if we need to get better use of the existing spaces. A larger island, that was an interesting point too, but that would actually result in a greater loss of parking, because the longer the island is, the longer the tapers need to be along the road. So there is a trade-off for that. Speed limit, it is correct that we don't have the ability to drop the speed limit under the current setting speed limits rule. 30 wouldn't be appropriate, for instance, and it's not outside of school. Speed humps, I'd suggest, would be unpopular on a minor arterial. And the other point I'd make too is that whenever we put in a facility, it needs to be accessible and suitable for use 24/7. So, for instance, just having time-restricted parking to take out the parking for sightlines at school time wouldn't work, because outside that time, there is an expectation that if there's a facility there, that people have a safe, accessible way to cross the road, and that's up to a standard. And that's what those guidance dimensions and lengths that Mr. Drake was mentioning, they're there for a specific reason. They've been tried and tested, and they're accepted best practice within the country. So deviating from those is likely to be potentially very risky in order to achieve a safety audit for the work. And I'd suggest we wouldn't support a reduction in the current extent of no stopping that's been proposed. That's probably more than enough from me at the moment, but yeah, I just thought I'd touch on those points that were raised, because they were very good points, and ones that we have discussed with the residents on site too.
Right. Thank you, Andrew and me, and I've got questions from the board. I first got Tyler, Cody, Joseph, Mark, and then Helen.
You'd be Yudi. Hey guys.
And Debbie.
And Debbie. Right. Thank you, Debbie.
The first one was, what were the other options that were thought of when actually coming up with this idea? I remember Girls High approached me they wanted to do something about it. You guys did awesome in engaging with them. And they did come up with the idea around the islands. Obviously, they presented that 2 years ago. Was there anything else that you considered to be feasible within the safety improvements?
No, when there was a feasibility study done on Kilmarnock Street as part of the work that when the projects came out of CRAF from the board, the recommendation was to put a pedestrian refuge island on Kilmarnock Street. And I think that was based around, and I'm not a traffic engineer, is around the speed, but also the volume of traffic is the safest option to put on there in terms of protection and whereas a pedestrian crossing wouldn't work. And I think it's based around it being the minor arterial road that it was considered the best solution and the safest solution.
So signals would start at about 500,000 as well. And that's a clear consideration that probably counted it out for CRAF funding. I suspect there probably isn't the pedestrian demand throughout the day and evening for signals. So I think, and I wasn't around at the start when this was first planned and designed, but I think the reason the island versus the build outs, for instance, was that I don't think we've got the sufficient width for build outs and an island, which could have the effect of reducing some of the length of no stopping because you have the pedestrians further out. But we are quite constrained there, and build outs alone wouldn't necessarily help because it would still require pedestrians to cross 2 lanes of traffic at once rather than have a refuge in the middle to stop.
And we've got cycle lanes on Kilmarnock Street as well.
So on the north side, referring to Kilmarnock Darwin, so there seems to be, does the cycleway go hard up against the curb?
No, it's a car park by the way.
The car park, then the cycleway.
The parking, then the cycleway, then the road space.
Sorry about that, I didn't mean to interfere. I've been doing it this afternoon.
Can we pull it up?
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry. My bad.
No. Sorry, I saw that. That's my idea.
Yeah, just along outside hotel.
That's all the shit on the park.
No, just drag it across.
Let's zoom out a bit.
Zoom out. Some more?
And up.
In.
Yep. Yeah, so yeah. Is there a potential for a build out to be, I guess, as close to the cycleway as possible?
I think
to be able to retain some form of car parks. I'm only putting this up as a question.
I wasn't the designer on this, but what I would say is they would be very expensive car parks if any were retained, because the curb line would have to be extended around here like this, and then come back in. So it would still remove some car parks. It may only result in, at a guess, possibly 2.
But that could also potentially lower.
On the park too.
That could also potentially lower speed, right, based on the environment that they're at.
The speed hump on the side road is the treatment designed to do that, as is the stop control. But those particular parks, to the best of my knowledge, are not the ones that are primarily the ones that residents are concerned about being removed. It's the ones on the outside the residential properties, which is mainly the ones in this case, on the southern side of the road.
Yeah, for me, I knew that there was no possibility of removing those based on the sightlines provided to us. That's why I thought that the top one would potentially be some way to meet in the middle on that. I'm just not sure what the costings and things would be up the top. I just don't see any harm in it in terms of risk if we're bumping it out. I'm not a traffic engineer, obviously, but I just
Because it can't park anyway.
No. I'm not aware of it being investigated to any extent, but my advice at this stage would be reiterate that they would be quite costly restricted car parks to keep, and for the expenditure, we're probably better to move towards restricted P120 parking to get turnover rather than.
We could do that in some areas across this catchment here.
Yes, rather than, we'd have to get some cost estimates and, it's not something I'm aware of that's been looked at in any detail.
Okay.
And would seriously weigh up what is the benefits versus the cost of it?
Yeah, of course. And so then, in terms of the car parking, if we were to put in restricted parking, where would you place it?
My sense is in particular at Mona Vale, it's the side road. It's on the side roads. I think we'd be open to a wider discussion with the community as to where that went. I suspect there'll be some mixed views as to whether they even want parking restrictions, and there'll be some who even have mixed views as to whether there's a parking restriction that currently needs to be solved. I guess as evidenced by the lack of comments that have come our way. It's possibly too early. I think one of the times to consider that may be when that development at the old Kilmarnock Enterprises site is open, but it is something again. But currently, on basis of what we've seen, there isn't a need to put in parking restrictions yet.
But as a means of coping with the concerns of residents, we'd have to consult on it anyway.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I think we'd be certainly open to that. Yep.
Yeah. Anything else, Taylor?
Yeah, well, I was wondering if we could potentially add that to the resolution around, I don't know, what we're doing around consulting with residents around restricted parking.
We could let it lie on the table pending, and we might have some questions.
I mean, you could
Questions first.
Yeah.
But anyway, the last one is, to be quite frank, is it a question of we take this report as it is, or we leave it? You sort of explored all options around improvements.
Yeah, there is funding. Each project, so each intersection has got 2 projects on it based on what the board asked us to look at. So there's the traffic calming project, which is Mona Vale and Darvale. So they're the traffic calming projects that we were asked to implement. Then there is the pedestrian safety projects, which was the other projects we were asked to implement, which is the crossings on Kilmarnock Street. So they are in effect 4 separate projects.
Got you. Okay.
If that makes it clearer.
2 separate projects.
Yeah. So the question I've got is, do we take everything as whole, or do we leave it?
I see. Yep. We can. So we did start with just the traffic calming, and I think we decided to. We had funding. We finished some other projects in crafts, so we knew that we had some funding. And then the Christchurch Girls High came and spoke with us. We thought, well, this is a great opportunity to do it all together. So we did the traffic calming first, and then we came back and we did the pedestrian refuge on it on Kilmarnock Street. So we decided it was more cost effective to look at each intersection as a whole. So we can, Andrew's just saying what we could do with Darvale, for example, is if you choose to approve it, is that if there is an issue with parking, we haven't heard through consultation that there's an issue with parking up this part of Kilmarnock Street.
No, there's not.
But that we could come back and then look at that build out if we found that it was really crucial that we got some more parking in there. But like I said, this wasn't the area where we received feedback in relation to parking loss. So
but there seems to be a bit of concern about how the consultation was done. I picked it up from so there seemed to be lots of consultation. Maybe people were missed, or maybe it didn't. They were landlords and didn't get it. You know what I mean? There seems to. I mean, are we able to? One of the things I found quite.
Helen,
sorry. Wait for the question. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Then we finish with Tyler.
The last one I've got is I did actually door knock the area, obviously, a few days ago, actually. And weirdly, I got a significant amount of support, or they don't care. And a lot of their neighbours obviously came in and discussed how they didn't want it. What kind of vibe did you get around the submission, around the engagement, around who supports, who doesn't support?
I think you kind of nailed it there. The people who do support it didn't bother getting in touch with us. So I spoke to you because you were there, but they didn't bother emailing. So we did anyone who's going to lose parking outside their house or who owns a property that would lose parking, they got a letter. And only a handful got in touch, and those are the ones who were concerned about the parking specifically outside their house. No one else said anything because they're not there fussed by it.
Just on the majority.
If I may suggest the issues that they have raised fall into probably two categories. One is existing issues that there can be through unrestricted parking, is that they can't find a park now and they expect it to get worse. But also that future, I guess, quite understandable crystal ball gazing, which has a lot of logic to it as well, and that when the large developments do come to fruition and are on stream, that the parking will be significantly worse. And I think what may have been lost is the scale, and that the amount of car parking which would be reallocated or lost, if you want to call it, through a project like this is very small compared to both the parking supply and the scale of the area.
Okay. I'm happy to move as it is.
Well, I want to add something too, actually. So
hang on. I've still got Cody, Joseph, Mark, Helen, and Debbie. Cody.
Goodness me. Yeah, if I'll just ask these quickly.
Bye.
One of the things raised was about bus stop rationalisation. Is it something you're working with ECAN on at the moment?
One question actually.
Yeah, I'm not. I actually messaged Mansell while I was listening in the other room, and I haven't heard back. I mean, that's an ongoing process. My understanding of the bus stops that would need to be rationalised, would benefit being rationalised, aren't necessarily the ones closest to Mona Vale Avenue. They're actually the ones that are further on, because the catchment around Mona Vale Avenue is pretty important from what I can see, both in proximity to those bus routes, Girls High, and also Hagley Park and the hotel. So if anything, they'll be further to the west. But I don't have any information about where that would be at.
Right.
But also that would likely to have like minor benefit to if any parking was to be reinstated.
Thanks. In 75 mil speed hump, can you give me a reference to a similar one that was maybe approved before? Just
They're the lower,
the
lower ones.
Is it the same as like outside the Waterloo Road at the school?
I don't know.
I'm sure those ones are 128.
Yeah, it's the 75 mil ones are probably the least offensive ones, if you like. So they have more of a smoother type thing, and they're really designed just to slow traffic on the approach more so than some of our more sort of one of the so for want of a better explanation.
The speed hump, I think one way of looking at it too is the speed humps that are on that are mid block would typically be more severe restraint than section ones, and that's in recognition that approach speeds on the side roads are so much less anyway. One that we did notice in particular is Mona Vale, and that is the amount of cars that roll through
that don't stop.
In the rear. The concern with an island is similar to what we dealt with in both in Oakridge Street actually a while ago, is that vehicles turning left, looking to the right, not seeing an island. So that's what, for instance, why we put it in control of that one. So we do need to be mindful of vehicles that do that, and any way we can slow them, the better it is.
Okay. And why was there just the one speed hump on Mona Vale, not two?
That was to do, now I'm trying to remember that, there was a reason for that. There was to do with road space and the buses coming round, but also there's a lot of stormwater, the cost to actually, ironically, to put a speed hump on this side would increase the project by quite a bit because there's a lot of stormwater issues in that around there. So when we were designing, when the designer was putting it together, it was safer to have a speed hump on the approach to the intersection coming in, probably not as necessary. And just with the sheer amount of bus movements and space to get through there, was beneficial.
So when I spoke with Jeanette earlier, she described that the trees with the leaf fall already block, and actually there's a sump on her property that actually flows over. Is that speed hump going to actually make that worse? Because it looks like it probably will.
No, my understanding is Jeanette lives further down, number 26, so it's further away from there. So we are going to be doing Having spoken to our detailed designers who are looking at this at the moment, there is some stormwater work and I think they're going to be putting in a double sump here because they have recognised there's quite a bit of broken curb in through here, so that will all get fixed.
I'm all about reinstatement. Yep.
Yep.
That's good.
Okay,
Um,
good.
in the flush crossing as well, was it investigated? I know we talked about it earlier. Yeah.
I wasn't aware of it being investigated as an option to begin with, but hopefully the board members have seen the information I sent around. It does infer some priority, which in practice doesn't exist. The design that was shown is certainly an interesting one, but not one that's currently approved for use in New Zealand. There's also potentially some additional costs with a at-grade point because it interferes with the drainage. But no, I wasn't. Yeah, I'm probably unfortunately the wrong person to answer that one.
Could I just add something? Just remembered something. So with Mona Vale Ave, what has happened since the report has been written, there's actually some road reconstruction work to be done. So this project will be done at the same time as some pavement reconstruction work, which is between Kilmarnock Street and back here. So the road's actually really quite poor condition there as well. So we're actually going to partner in with our maintenance guys and do all that.
Oh, so they're doing it at the same time as Kahu Road.
Oh, yeah. I'm not talking about Kahu Road, but yeah, so sorry, this is a road that those were done at the same time.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, all good. All right, thank you, Cody. Joseph.
Yeah, thanks for the history as a new board member. It's somewhat useful to get some of that. So I just had a question about the throughput of the pedestrian refuges. If we assume single directional pedestrian travel, how many ordinary pedestrians could fit in there at one time?
Sure. It's a surprisingly difficult question to answer because it all depends on I guess how close people stand next to it, whether they know each other or not, whether they've got a bike, whether they've got a pushchair. And also some people have different levels of tolerance in terms of how close they feel they can stand next to a live traffic lane.
Okay, can we assume sardines then?
I'd say something like that. You may get 5 to 6.
5 to
would be about. I don't know if you've got any thoughts on that. I mean that would be at a guess, but
so that's ordinary sardines. What about sardines who wear backpacks and as alluded to earlier, have telephones?
It'd be less.
So less than 5 or 6.
Yes.
The throughput of less than 5 doesn't really seem adequate to me when we're talking about potentially 10 or 12 people crossing at once. I certainly remember when I was a child at a high school and there were pedestrian refuges in the high school that I went to, you'd have people standing, all around it, looming over the edge of the live lane, standing up on the bar. So I guess the question there is, can we increase the amount of space in the pedestrian refuge?
Yes.
Okay.
But potentially we could investigate that, but with that comes a greater loss of parking.
Okay.
And cost, and potentially depending on where it went, it may also affect. I think we're probably okay with this one, but it can affect the where it's positioned because it affects where people can turn into driveways and things. What I would say though is that at a distance like this from the school, it's not like a crossing point which is directly outside the school. That the amount of kids that are coming out are far more staggered, rather than say what we see at Waterloo Road, which was one that was made a lot bigger in terms of capacity, so people could cross. That's probably the best I can answer that ones, Joseph. Certainly outside of school hours, it would be suitable. I guess it depends on so many factors.
Right. I guess I have a question then about pedestrian behaviour. So given that we're already talking about a population that the Deputy Principal, Genevieve, mentioned is, dashing across at random points.
And distracted.
Is this actually likely to induce a change in pedestrian behaviour so that the pedestrians are crossing more safely?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, and because at the moment they've got design line, but they haven't got a clear facility or target. Also, it does improve safety through the shadow effect of the island, and that is both either side of the island, both downstream and upstream, because in effect it's creating a space, albeit painted, where so if kids being kids and teenagers being teenagers do what they do, they don't cross exactly at it, some of them, they will have a level of improved safety by crossing within the marked area.
Okay.
And I think also it would help support the school in trying to manage pedestrians crossing there, because like Genevieve says, and when we met with the students, they have a teacher at that intersection as well, and it probably gives them an extra tool to sort of try and keep them corralled into one place, because at the moment they are
sheep.
Yeah, they're just everywhere. So yeah, and I think it would also assist the teacher with trying to manage that behaviour after school as well.
And one final question, with the induced desire, shall we call it, for more pedestrians, is the desire line already in place likely to widen as well? That is the desire line that we're using as a basis for putting this here. Is that likely to get wider with more people using it?
Oh,
good question.
So if I understand that, so you're suggesting that, well, with a facility being there, it will generate more pedestrians using it. Is that what you mean?
Yeah.
Yes, it will.
Okay.
Yes, because there may be some people who currently are crossing elsewhere that will change their behaviour because now there's a facility.
Okay.
And there's probably a small but still worth mentioning group of people who, for whatever reason, don't actually cross now because they haven't got a facility. So they either don't cross, or I don't know, their parents might drive them there or something. So yes, it's very difficult to quantify that.
Okay.
And we certainly heard that from one resident I spoke to at the Monavale end, that if there was a facility here, that they would use it, because it is, especially around this end where you've got a railway line, you've got all sorts going on down there as well. Each intersection is quite different in its makeup and what goes on, but they're both really busy.
Monavale's the worst.
Yeah,
Hands
there's
down.
a lot going on.
Okay, thank you.
All done, Joseph? Great, thank you, Joseph. Mark?
Good to fresh air. You guys are doing a job. Right. Would it be possible for us to resolve to add a build out on that Chateau corner as part of our decision?
Could it be maybe that we investigate the possibility of, if that was something that could work, that we did that instead of that? Yep, I don't.
Because it'd be, from my thought, it'd be nice just to get that extra pedestrian visibility by having that build out. Would make
Could we have a resolution around, and that it was, if we could do it, that's then we're not having to come back just for the build out. That
kind of
could be.
approve it as part of the resolution.
Do we need to much of a cost though?
You just take the budget from speed
And
I'm
there
dead
is-
serious.
Yeah,
Take the budget from the speed hub,
in terms of budget,
put it into the build out.
One achieve something, the other.
in terms of budget, there is still money in the craft program, high program, so
Of course there is.
yeah, there's still money there, guys. There's still money. So we've still got work to do. But yeah, so if we wanted to add in something like that, there's definitely money that we can pull in from the program to cover that cost.
Yeah.
Well, these international ones.
Next got is hearing about the widening of that's concrete that is the refuge island.
Yeah.
Is that something we could perhaps have you investigate as part of this as well, so that it was possible to widen it, double or something? Could that be done? Because I'm just thinking how many kids there's likely to be.
What's the question mark? I can't hear that.
Can we look at widening that refuge, holding space in the middle? To make it so there's more capacity for pedestrian crossing.
Yeah, they said more car
More car
parks.
parks.
There won't be, they're all going anyway, so it'll.
But what do we want, to build out or widening both?
Can we hear from
Okay.
staff first?
I think we'd hear from staff that if we put the build out in and widen the refuge, you won't end up losing more car parking, because the build out actually lessens the stopping. Okay.
It may end up with a net result of zero.
Yeah.
Because
it'll give a better safety feel.
Because in terms of parking loss or gain, because widening the island to the east would probably result in another car park lost outside.
Oh, sorry, I made a mistake.
Outside or driveway.
there.
Yeah. Okay. Yes. We could look at that as a potential option. Possibly one, and on the other side, yes, it would gain. Yep.
So
we can look into
I'd be
that.
quite keen for us to look at that in resolutions to investigate the build out and also the widening of that refuge.
It looks better.
Does the widening not have an impact on
No.
parking?
I think you're looking at what's there, more than likely wouldn't.
It may not have a net, it might not have any net effect on parking. It may result in
Just better safety.
possibly one car park lost on the south side, but you'd gain one, maybe two on the north side. And there would need to be some work around widening the cut downs either side to allow the greater volume through. Sorry, that was at
At the Darvel.
yeah.
Because I think we heard from Genevieve that that's the primary student.
Yeah, and definitely when the students came and spoke with us, and probably you, the same thing was that's their main. Mine was really busy, but that one's busy. Yeah, perfect.
Cool. My next thought was, I've seen your thoughts around there is no way to do a 30K around there. Is there any way under the traffic speed regulations to have a special case in cases like this, which is, it may not be immediately at the school, but it's definitely the main thoroughfare to and from the school. Could we make a case to NZTA or whoever it is to, look, in this case, because it's such a desire line, could we find a way to do that? That's a particular case crossing her.
I don't believe there is currently provision under the rule to do so, but I also don't think that there's nothing to say that a local authority couldn't request that from NZTA. But what I would say is that I'd say it's unlikely to align with what the guidance is around speed limits around school, primarily because it's remote and that doesn't have a frontage.
What about Morty from Harper to the railway would be great.
Yeah, wouldn't it?
Which currently don't have the ability to do so. My understanding is.
Could we resolve in the resolutions to investigate one form of speed restriction to enhance the safety of these crossings? Because I think it's worth trying.
I don't think there's anything stopping us, or a board, for instance, writing to NZTA to request that, but I don't think it's going to have.
It's just not an easy process.
You're not fighting together.
No,
you see the rules.
But hey, I'm all about it. If it's difficult, let's give it a crack.
Even if it was 40, if it was just dropped to 40.
And the residents ask. Certainly would go down like a cup of cold sack, but it's definitely.
My last question is, this is Monavale mess now. Do we have any implications there in regards to Kiwi Rail? Is Kiwi Rail going to pop up and say, oh, hang on, we need this designed?
No, we have talked to Kiwi Rail, and I think with far enough away that we're okay.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah.
Everyone would charge me 17 mil for it.
Done, Mark? Okay, I've got Helen, Debbie, and then Sarah.
Thank you.
Helen.
I was down there this afternoon and I was surprised at the number of car parks going. I don't quite understand it. So why are so many going on both sides?
So
Yeah, they're going that too.
There's the two main reasons for reduction in parking, reallocating that space. Because it's reallocating the space to either provide sightlines, both for pedestrians and for cars approaching a pedestrian, and also as a result of physically putting an island in means that the rest of the parts of the road have to shift over. And in this case, it's the cycle lane as well, because otherwise they would be squeezed by the vehicles coming through. So it's a result of putting those two things. And quite a lot of that is actually, if you look at the Kilmarnock Darvel one, is actually by putting something in the middle of the road, what the effect of that is for parking vehicles.
Yeah, so is there a way of minimising the car park slot? Is it only the time limited issue? That's the only way of minimising the car parks.
We did go away and look at it again, and there was a peer review on that as well, and safety audit as to whether we can reduce the amount of car parks further. And the answer was no. And one of the main factors in that too is in effect the inability to also reduce the approach speeds of vehicles by way of a speed limit or humps and things, because that is one way that we can increase the provision of car parks. or sorry, not reduce as many. The other one would be way of build out, which I think with Councillor Peters has covered it off through investigating at Davos as well.
Okay, so are we talking about Mona Vale East now or not? Are we doing both together, Madam Chair, or are we doing?
Two separate items. Two separate items.
I did ask this in writing. Why are the 3 car parks going? I presume it's the stop sign, but I haven't had a.
Mona Vale.
Is that Mona Vale?
So we are.
You've got 3 car parks going by the stop sign, and I presume that I asked a question, but I presume they're going because you've got a stop sign.
Now that we put that in here, I'll just.
Let's start by through here.
Come on.
Where's the railway?
The realignment of the south main. Oh, and there's parking removed because
Was it the building?
with the build out here, but we've formalised the end angle park.
That's fine.
Yep, and then we've taken out because of the speed hump and the stop sign
And the islands.
in the island
Yes.
is another two,
Everything across.
another 2 here. This
Another
one,
2, okay.
yeah. So this one here, you can't park here anyway. So that's just really formalising that.
Okay.
So really, you could
Taking another
yeah,
2.
yeah.
And you've had no complaints from those people?
No, not about the parking lots. No.
So do you think in some ways that Meadow Street East is fine?
Mona Vale.
Sorry?
Mona Vale Ave.
Yes, sorry.
Yes. Yeah, so the main concern that the residents of Mona Vale Ave had was number 20, the gentleman on the corner, was around the fact currently when you come out of Mona Vale Ave onto Kilmarnock, you can actually get 2, because it's so wide, you can actually turn right and turn left at the same time.
Informally.
Informally. So by putting in the pedestrian refuge island and also aligning that path, you're actually providing a safe crossing across Mona Vale, but also you're now, so one car gets the intersection, you've got to wait for that car to go. So that was their concern, that after school, there'd be a backlog of traffic, but like any area around a school, within that half an hour.
So in terms, just overall in terms of submissions, we've had 2 people speaking tonight, but did you get other submissions?
About
From, or no, both of them together?
Yeah, so we heard from 3 people in response to the Darville Street.
Okay, so you've heard from 3 only?
And
anyone from Mona Vale?
Mona Vale,
Mr. Drake.
Yeah, Mr. Drake. Also, we met with the residents on the corner of Mona Vale Ave and Kilmarnock Street on the opposite corner, and they were okay with what was proposed.
Okay with that one.
Yep, and we also met with the resident on the other corner. Who's concerned with
It
the
sounds like, Madam Chair, we could potentially pass.
Oh, we'll take questions first, Helen.
Okay.
You're done with your questions, Helen?
That's fine.
Great, thank you. I've got Debbie and then Sarah. Debbie, go ahead, please.
Thank you. Thank you, Andrew and team. Whilst I've been listening here, there seems to be a lot of alternative thinking for going forward. So I'm presuming that's where Helen's leading to, perhaps going to lay it on the table. But what I'd like to raise, first of all, is that, Andrew, you mentioned that there's difficulty to quantify some matters pertaining to the proposal. I see line of sight matters everywhere, and so what we're proposing here is loss of car parks as a 24/7 resolution for short-term crossing issues. So what my question is, because I've seen these pedestrian refuges all around the city and in our ward, so I'll ask probably a couple of questions in one if I can. How effective are pedestrian refuges? Because I've typed this down while I was listening. How effective are pedestrian refuges? Is there an after installation follow-up or quality control to collect data to see how effective these pedestrian refuges actually are? Now, I ask this because I see many people outside schools where pedestrian refuges have been placed, still crossing, not where pedestrian refuges are, but just 4 to 5 metres away. So what studies take place after the effects of the implementation? how does this actually then improve pedestrian behaviour? Like you suggested, Andrew, that you think that it will improve pedestrian behaviour, but we just discovered from Joseph's questioning that you fit about 4 to 5 in those pedestrian refuges at one time, and we've got a multitude of students who simply want to cross. They can't fit there, so they'll cross further down the road where there isn't a pedestrian refuge. So ultimately, my question is there follow-up to find out how effective these pedestrian refuges are? Because I see it from where I stand and where I see it, I'm thinking quite often I feel like yelling out my car window saying there's just
Thank you, Debbie. You've asked your question already. We'll hear from Andrew, his response.
I guess with the comments around not being able to quantify exactly how many users there are is that would be crossing at any one time. As we have had pedestrian counts, so we do know how many are likely to use it. We also know through a catchment area how many potentially could use it in the future. What we don't necessarily know is how many are going to turn up exactly at one point in time. I guess a lot of this comes down to previous experience around Christchurch and also New Zealand, that a pedestrian crossing point and facility of this type is a very effective and and particularly cost-effective and efficient way to move pedestrians in a location such as this. Because we're not talking about hundreds and hundreds of pedestrians all day, every day throughout the day, or thousands. You quite rightly pointed out, Debbie, that a lot of this is around school time, but I would suggest that there are and there will be weekend users, after hours users, and a variety of other users which we still need to provide for, and that's why a facility that is installed needs to be safe and suitable all the time. In terms of follow-up, typically, there isn't a formal follow-up because of the extent of the work that's gone into planning and determining where they go to start with. But there's nothing to say that a crossing point couldn't be reviewed at a later date. But I'd say it would be unlikely that as a result of a study or assessment that it would be removed or anything like that. It would be generally these are very well respected and regarded treatments for a location of this type. But if there's a particular concern about its function or whether it's feasible or too small, for instance, yes, by all means we can review that at a later date. Hopefully that's answered your questions, Debbie.
Yep, that has. I mean, my next question would be, and I mean this could be even more costly, is whether or not we could put in a temporary pedestrian crossing to measure the effects, because pedestrian refuge, sorry, to measure the effects and whether or not it's going to work. But anyway, I'll leave that with you, Andrew. Thank you for your answering. That's great. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Debbie. Sarah and then Cody, just 2 questions.
I'll be really quick. With the two pedestrian islands and potentially a build out, that's going to naturally reduce the speed. Do you think on Kilmarnock, like 5? I mean, it's just hard to quantify, but are we talking 5K or so?
It is really hard to quantify. I think it'll probably have it'll have quite a lot of effect on turning speeds, which is good because that's a conflict point. Through speeds, yes, it will, because it also visually narrows the road as well.
Yeah.
Further along. I'm sorry, I probably can't. I'd be guessing. I think exactly.
Yeah, and I don't expect it. It was just more that yes, it would.
But any of those top speeds we can knock off better.
Yeah.
I think because they're the ones that are really the ones that can cause the issues.
Yeah, so it's gonna slower speeds are gonna make it safer for crossings anyway.
What I can do, I can ask, and through Bay and Bailey, I can come back what the likely speed reduction would be for treatment of this type.
Yeah, because that would help then if people are interested in reducing the speed, whether or not that even needs to be looked at as a.
And it will highlight it as a crossing point as well. So it's the other thing that makes drivers more aware.
Yes,
that there's crossing activity happening. In this location.
Then go 70 down Kilmarnock and then 20k down Riccarton Road.
Sarah?
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. I've got last 2 questions from Cody.
Thank you. With the 55 units that are proposed to go in, so we'll of course get development contributions, which are roughly around 300,000 for active public transport and roads. Could go towards something in the future. But I guess, sorry, the question actually is, if there were to be 55 housing units going in, how many extra cars would you expect that the road can actually support, given the amount of effort put in to preserve one or two?
Oh, in terms of Kilmarnock Street and the side roads, I haven't been involved in the traffic assessment for the development, but I'd suggest that that's relatively small compared to the volumes that Kilmarnock in particular carries, and also relatively small compared to just the natural increase in volume year after year.
Sorry, I'm talking about parking.
Oh, parking. Sorry, I mean volumes.
Yep. I mean, if we assume there's even just one car per house, I mean, it's 50 something plus cars, isn't it? To be bad.
There will have been a transport assessment for that site that would have quantified that. I think I don't have that. I haven't been involved in that, so I can't give you any accurate figures of what that might look like. But it's fair to say there will quite expectedly be an increase in the amount of demand for parking on site. And I think it will probably prompt the moves towards parking restrictions to create that turnover. It'll probably tip that balance over at some stage. But by how much and when is I don't have the information. Sorry.
So where's
Last question from Cody.
Yeah, it was.
sorry, where's
Last question from
development? Cody, do you want?
Yeah, it's near the railway.
Near the railway.
Yeah.
Sorry,
It's near the railway where the food bank used to be.
opposite Girls High.
Yeah. Oh, no. Kilmarnock.
In Kilmarnock. Oh, well, there's another big development opposite.
Cody.
High, potentially.
Last question.
Just given the reference that the members made about just amending things and so on, with reference to the build out, is there then also a possibility that you could look at a continuous footpath treatment as well?
I think aside from those priority type issues that I mentioned earlier about that type of treatment, I think probably that you'd be looking at a whole intersection treatment, and the cost would be prohibitive as part of this project, because you'd effectively be treating the whole intersection on that side of the road. I would be hesitant to recommend a flush treatment, because not only the cost, the drainage, but the perception of priority. And also the main issue we're trying to treat is actually across Kilmarnock Street rather than across the side road. I don't think there's a strong enough identifiable problem across the side road to warrant that at the moment. Yeah, it'd be my take on it.
Oh, good. Thank you. So thank you, Andrew, and Amy. So we have asked staff about both Darville and Monavale. So we will decide on this separately and this. I think that so
I've got an alternative resolution.
Alternative resolution from Tyler.
Just to table it.
We'll just
And
write that one
include all of the stuff.
On the table.
Here's up on the screen. If Tyler, you can read it.
Sure. So I'm looking to lay the item on the table and request staff to go back for a potential installation of curb build-out treatment on the corner of Darville and Kilmarnock, increasing the size of the median refuge, speed management options within the vicinity of Kilmarnock and Darville, and Monavale, and then also options for parking retention and provision in the area.
Yes.
Cool. Is everyone happy with that?
Yeah. Is this for Darville, item number 7?
No, this is just for the Kilmarnock. Oh, so yes. Kilmarnock, Darville.
Item
Yep.
number 7.
Yep.
All right. Okay. Yep.
I'm happy to see it.
So moved by Tyler has been moved by Tyler and seconded by Joseph already. So all those in favor. Oh, not what Joseph. Yep. No, that one. Sorry. Yeah. So this one is.
Happy to second this.
Yes. So moved by Tyler, seconded by Joseph. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Against?
No.
Andre.
It's enough information here to make.
Yeah, no, I know. You can't be bothered. We could have made it.
You just wanted to.
Yeah.
So there, Andre. That's the best thing. Yeah.
Andre will record that.
Yeah, thank you.
Carried. Now we move on to the next item.
I'm happy to move this one.
I'll second.
So, okay, moved by Tyler, seconded by Helen.
Yep.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Can you
Ready?
just tell me from here what it is that we're voting on there? Sorry.
It's Mona.
Mona Vale.
Item 8.
Item number 8, Mona Vale, Kilmarnock.
Yeah,
The staff recommendation.
Yeah, sorry, I'm just looking at it from my other screen.
I've brought it up. I'm sharing the screen.
So,
Now, Debbie.
Faye is sharing the screen already.
Cool.
Yeah, all good.
Right?
Yep.
So
Thank-
we've got all aye and against? Carried. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. We move on to item number 9. Tree removal, facilitate installation of culvert in Kennedy's Green. We've got Toby online.
Guys,
Um,
thanks, team.
Thank you.
right.
Yeah, I'm happy to move.
Moved by Andre, seconded by Cody. All those in favor say aye.
Hi.
Carried.
Too far away. No.
Thank you.
Thank you, Toby. Item number 10, Bank Street Post Construction Build Out. Moved by Cody, seconded by Mark. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Against? Carried.
Easy.
Yeah.
Item number 11, repurposing of the changing room at Canterbury Agricultural Park.
More.
That's good.
Do we have staff
That's got a question.
here? Guy Williams, come forward, please.
Good
Welcome.
evening, everyone.
Right.
I'm Guy, Project Manager with Parks, and with me is John Furlong, our Sports Activation Advisor. We'll take the report as read. Parks just thinks that this is an exciting opportunity to repurpose something. So yeah, please go ahead and ask.
Any questions? Andre?
Thank you. Just the letter from Malcolm Hum. Yeah, Canberra Rugby League supportive of this. This is subject to being replaced by fit for purpose storage area. Would also recommend a further toilet block be constructed. So just on the storage area, what's being done in response to that?
So that was the second part of the approval. I'm seeking approval to proceed with design for replacements and toilet upgrades if the relocation gets approved. I just didn't want to spend money and time.
Yep, gotcha. Gotcha. Okay,
Good.
great, thank you.
Cody?
What's the timeline roughly for that to come back to us? Or will they come back to us?
Who's that, sorry?
For the question that Andre just asked.
So as the staff member being project manager, if the removal is approved, I will then engage a design team to put together a design with consultation with Canterbury Rugby League. So I don't have a set time frame on that yet because I'll need this approved. Then I'll have to go to the other community board it's being placed on.
Okay. Yep. Thank you.
I have just a quick question. It's not a biggie, but when I use consultants, I usually have the final report. Why is the attached report in draft, the cost estimate?
Again, we were just
draft from the concept design estimate.
sorry, that's probably me dropping the ball. I just wanted to wait until I had more approval before I got the final cost done.
Yeah, but usually when we get a report from the consultant and present it to council or to the board, it's a final report, not a draft.
Apologies, that's me dropping the ball there.
All right, thanks. Okay, any more questions?
Happy to move.
Second.
Thank you, Guy. You can.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, guys.
So moved by Andre, seconded by Sarah. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Debbie, may I hear you?
Yes, I said aye.
Okay, and against? Carried. Thank you. Now, BRF, we've got Helen
All right, who's moving this along?
and
Come on. Yeah. We're on a roll.
Right.
Got a question.
questions. Okay, I've got questions from
Oh, no. I'm joking.
Mark.
I'm joking.
Cody and then Mark.
Thank you. Thank you for the response I got about the Riccarton Bush Trust. That was fantastic. Just with regards to the tennis trust, there's quite a lot of money from a discretionary fund. Can you tell me a little bit more about, I guess, why it's so much?
Right. So there are a number of reasons why, and it is, you're right, it is a big recommendation. So historically, this application might have gone to another fund, like Federal Endowment Fund, but this project doesn't meet that criteria. And so hence it's come to the community board. When I looked at the project, I looked at the overall costing of the project and the percentage. So when you look at the percentage, it's not a huge amount, but yes, you're right, the recommendation is a big amount.
Yeah. And so I'm not that familiar with the club a lot, man. Is it open to the public or how does that work?
So the club has club membership, and at the moment they're at capacity. And you might remember they recently came to the board to acquire an extension on their lease, and that enables them, when they realign their courts, they will be able to put in an extra court. Their courts at the moment are in a dangerous condition. And so that realignment will enable them to have more members, because at the moment they can't actually meet the demand.
And I guess last question, do you know roughly how many members that are using it as well?
It will have it in the report.
Yeah. Oh, sorry, it's 205. Yeah. Thank you.
The ball hit you in the head.
All good, Cody?
Thanks.
Thank you. Mark?
Are you supportive of it?
Yes.
Thank you. The Olympia gym.
Yep.
I guess was of daylight. The reason they're being required to pay for the emergency exit door, is that some strange arrangement with the leasing, or?
So it's not a strange arrangement with the leasing. It's a standard arrangement with the it's a rec and sport facility.
Yep. And
it's a standard arrangement with the rec and sport facility. So if you went into, for example, the Saltburn Recreation Centre, and you looked at all the developments that the Saltburn Club have put in to upgrade that facility, they have done that at their own cost and their own fundraising.
Yeah.
So with rec and sport, it's more of a
That's how it works.
semi-commercial arrangement. So if you're wanting to change the building, it comes as your cost. Council would be responsible for major capital works. So for example, if the roof needed replacing, but not, and the club choosing to repurpose that area so that they can offer more programs. So it's at their cost.
Very good. Is there a reason that you're recommending less than the requested amount on that one?
We would tend not to give 100% in our recommendations. Hence why my recommendation. I do feel the club will be able to come up with the remaining amounts of funds for this purpose, especially with the extra perceived revenue coming in with that extra space.
Cool.
All good. Cool. Thank you, Helen and Marie. If you can step back.
I'm happy to move.
Well, just to clarify, we are voting on all three, but I'd like to clarify that Tyler and I are not voting on the Riccarton Bush. So, right. So moved by Mark, and seconded by Cody. All those in favor say aye. Against?
That's an aye
Carried.
from me too.
Yes, thank you. I heard that. Thank you, Debbie. Carried. Cool. And move on to the item number 13, Community Board Area Report.
I will take that as read.
Everybody move.
I've got a question.
Questions?
Yeah. Commissioner Bailey, this issue of do you have a cycleway and also a pavement that allows cyclists on it? It's coming through as a staff memorandum. I would have thought it would have come through as an item for the board to actually vote on.
We can vote on this report.
So, I mean, I raised the issue with Mary Richardson ages ago, and I wasn't allowed to move a notice of motion. But I would have thought, if that's fine, but it would need to come through our board on it, rather than just have it accepted.
There is advice, and then there is another piece of work that is happening with the that is being currently consulted, or I'm not sure if that's still open.
I think it's being engaged.
Yeah, being engaged at the moment. So the memo and then the response that you got to last year, was it, or earlier this year?
What's it for, sorry?
For on Island.
It's Island Road Crossing.
Oh, yeah.
And this is the issue of, do you have a cycleway and also a pavement that has cycles on it? It's quite tricky, I think.
So the response was that when they're doing engagement on that crossing, it also looks at the wider impacts, which I know there's been some correspondence amongst the board in response to when we see that it's out for consultation. So that is where residents are able to give feedback on that particular issue. But there isn't anything on the table for the board to remove the provision of the shared path.
Okay. Is it coming back to us in some form?
It's not coming back unless there was feedback through the current consultation that the shared path or the provision of the shared path was an issue. So there is the opportunity for people to give that feedback.
They are only going though to Island School and somebody else. Like, I'm not quite sure, but another corporate sort of.
You see.
Yes. Yeah. So it's not going out to residents at all.
Well, there's only 3 users.
There is an area where I think you could potentially survey people. I mean, it's quite hard to know who walks on there.
We've heard from one person so far.
We've heard, but I think it's daft. I think it's daft. Why have cycleways if you also allow?
We just focus on.
The reason why we have that is what this memo tells us.
One of 3.
Sorry?
Island School is happy not to be
consulted. The memo.
The UCSA will get in touch when they get in touch.
Well, so it's just a Dundee basically with no input from the board. I mean, probably it sounds like I wouldn't get it through the board, but it seems odd that we haven't got input into it. I'll raise it with you in writing and you can send it.
We'll take it offline. Anybody else has questions? I have a question. It's related to the Halswell Community Resilience session. I appreciate that Civil Defense goes around the different board areas and does this and with the community. And I was actually interested in going to this one, but I was just conscious that it was just for the community, the local people. I did raise it with at the chairpersons and staff forum with John Tilsell, and if you can follow up, because I asked about civil defense training for elected members and how our role will look like when there's an emergency. What do we do? What is our role as elected members? If we can just follow that up with John Tilsell.
Yes, I can. And the civil defence team are going to come around in the next couple of months, I think, to an information session to introduce themselves, and they'll be able to ask those specific questions.
Okay, thank you. So I move that the report be.
Sorry, just one thing.
One
The Well Street path. That looks really cool. But on the Amy's Road bus stop, do you guys go back to the resident and let them know?
Yes.
I've done that.
Yeah, right.
Oh, Ray's done that.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so I've moved the report and seconded by Mark. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Against? Carried.
Heard it's any spelt wrong. Just heads up.
Huritni.
But we actually a big long corridor about that.
Here is it.
Depends who you're
Really?
asking. Yes.
That's
Yeah.
Huritni.
Huritni.
Huritni, that's a third version. Huritini, Huritni. Right, okay. So we move on to the elected members information exchange. Anybody wants to share something? I've got Tyler and then Helen.
You worry about the Hornby River.
Hornby River.
Tyler, go ahead.
Antonio Hall's getting knocked down. Heads up.
When's it happening?
Right now.
Right now.
There's someone regarding the cats.
No.
He's not a cat person.
They'll run away. They love being adopted. There's probably going to be some student housing going on that site, so that's really exciting. What's really sad is they've cut down some of the really old trees,
Oh,
which is fine. That is progress. And the safety improvements outside Te Kapuhi-Riccarton's been really positively engaged on. Actually, Cody shared something on the Riccarton page. That's really good. I got an update about Stockburn Park, and they're currently going through consultation feedback and to see, we'll do a brainstorm on what Stockburn Park could look like. I'm pretty keen to see them extended out a bit more to more Riccarton High and maybe Riccarton Primary too, because there's not much in terms of green space for those schools other than their own schools, and their schools are pretty good in terms of playgrounds and stuff though. But there is a lot of issues around the ground and power lines overhead with Orion around what's able to be built. So looking forward to seeing that. The Stockburn Service Centre site is actually progressing. And this is the thing that sort of blew my mind was we didn't approve it, but it's progressing with 2 lots on Stockburn Service Centre site being on sold to go to market.
Okay.
There's a really weird thing where the government actually technically own it.
Yes, I thought that.
Yeah. It's a very weird covenant, which is in process, and there's an RFP with NITO, and if that's not working, they've got to give some back to the Crown. And then the Crown on sell it at market rate. So it's going to be really weird. I would have rather have used it for something.
I would have too. I thought it went to the Crown. Any money gained went, no, the Crown had first.
They get take, yeah.
And they haven't wanted it.
No. Well, yeah, they're still exploring those things, but there is talks at the moment around where it would land, because it's a bit confusing. Main South Road, Blenheim Road, and heaps of other roads, Riccarton Road, have all been upgraded. They're looking really good. But one thing that I just wanted to note with everyone is I've had a lot of complaints about parking ticks, actually white lines around the edge of driveways, particularly in central Riccarton. So I'm probably going to be bringing forward something in the future around some small wins. So if we're going to be resurfacing the roads, then we should be painting
the ticks on.
Yeah.
Good idea.
Because it's a waste of my time, to be honest.
Lack of ticks at the moment.
Have a lot
Yeah.
of tick.
Yeah, it's just chip seal or asphalt. So yeah, those are the small updates.
You can actually just put those through in a snap sense of. That was how we got the Patterson Wales improvement.
Well, that's a good idea.
It only took about a month to come through.
Good idea.
As a report to us.
Do that.
Yeah. Sense of.
Oh, really good. I had about 8 requests and they haven't been answered to, so we'll try.
Yeah. We know where they go to.
Sure, you'll go.
Great, thank you. You're all aware that there's major changes coming from central government. You've had a full briefing and we kind of haven't, but that's okay. It's in writing. Do people think we should do a submission as a board? Or do you just want to do?
I think we will discuss that offline. This is
Offline, okay.
information sharing. Right? Anything else? Anybody else has anything to share?
Andre wants to create a republic.
Oh, just quickly, yeah. So I did actually contact Adam's school about the crossing, and they said that they were fine with the consultation that UC had been through.
But they're bound to be. It's just residents walking, that's all.
One. One resident.
Oh, no, but if you don't consult residents, you actually don't know either way.
Most
It
of the
could
residents,
just be one or it could be 20.
most of the residents come.
I mean, I wouldn't
facilities.
go along there with bikes on there, but I don't walk there anyway, so.
But anyway, that was all from me.
All right, okay, nothing else. We will close with our karakia.
Finance here?
Uni here, ki te uru tahu, kia wātia, kia mama, te ngākau, te whinana, te ua, i te ara, takata, hoiara, runga, kia tina.
Close members. Helen,